been a Turtles fan as long as I can remember. I grew up with the 80s cartoon, the toys, and the live-action movies. I've never stopped following the franchise, enjoying many of the TV series over the years. These days, I mostly enjoy Turtles through the excellent comics, from the gritty origins of the characters in the Eastman and Laird run to the sprawling IDW series, and most recently the 2024 relaunch, which promises to bring some fresh and exciting ideas to the heroes in a half-shell. Another element of TMNT I've always enjoyed are the video games. Back in the day, my brothers and I would spend a lot of time, and money, on the fantastic Konami Turtles arcade machine while on family holidays. But the first Turtles game I owned, and the topic for today's video, is Fall of the Foot Clan for the Game Boy. So, let's go Ninja Go, and check it out. Fall of the Foot Clan is a side-scrolling action game, akin to a simplified version of Double Dragon or Shinobi, that was released in 1990. April O'Neil has been kidnapped. Again. Yawn. Not least of all for her, and you need to battle through 5 stages in order to rescue the intrepid reporter. You have 3 attacks at your disposal: a hit with your primary weapon, a long-range shuriken throw, activated by attacking when crouched, and a flying kick. The end of each level is guarded by a boss character you must defeat to progress. When you boot up the game and pass the title, the next thing you see is the level select screen. This isn't a strictly linear game, and allows you to choose your favourite stage to begin from. As this game doesn't have a save or password function, it's great to have the option to return to the level you lost on, especially for younger players. It's worth noting though, that you only get the full ending cutscene if you play through the game fully from stage 1. Now, the real highlight of this screen for me is the ability to change the button layout. It's not something revolutionary for a game, but I really appreciate that it's not hidden away in a settings menu and is offered to you every time you pick up the game. Next up, you get to choose your turtle. All 4 are present and correct, and the turtles themselves act as your lives in the game. As you play, if your selected turtle takes too much damage, they get captured. At this point, you return to the character select screen where the captured turtle is now greyed out. So overall, you get 4 lives before game over, and as there's no way to bring back a captured turtle, you've got to practice if you want to get through the whole game with your favourite character in one piece. Due to the Game Boy's limited palette of green, the turtles all look the same, lacking the colourful punch of their bandanas. However, the developers managed to sprinkle a bit of character into the animation of each turtle. I love how the turtles twirl their weapons as they walk. There are 5 stages, with most of them having several areas you transition through, such as going from the sewers to a busy New York street. You'll fight huge swathes of the Foot Clan, but also several enemies unique to each stage, like fish, bats, and weird sentient flames. Some levels have moving obstacles that almost fill the screen, like the motorbike on the first level and the spikes on wheels in stage 4. These certainly keep you on your toes with everything else going on. Level 3 was always my favourite. As a child, it felt like a dynamic, thrilling chase along the freeway. Even today, the simple sense of movement provided by the roadside lights is quite effective. I love how this foot soldier looks like he's throwing a Tetronimo. This game features some of the most bizarre and fun bonus stages I've ever played. For a start, the way you find them is pretty unique. In Fall of the Foot Clan, you find the bonuses by crouching or jumping in very particular spots. You've probably noticed a lot of crouching in my footage as I searched for them. This sounds quite infuriating, but is actually pretty rewarding, and I was surprised at how many locations I could still remember after so long. The bonus stages themselves are all different and have nothing to do with the main levels, or with the Turtles franchise for that matter, which makes them stand out. There are 3 bonus levels, and beating any of them fully restores your health. The first minigame pits you against Master Splinter in a match of higher or lower. Splinter picks a number between 1 and 999, and you get 10 chances to guess it. After each failed try, Splinter tells you if your guess was higher or lower than the answer. The second stage sees you take on Krang in a battle of wits, removing shurikens in an attempt to not be left with the final one. The third and final bonus level is a shooting game. You need to hit a set amount of targets that fly across the screen to win. Given the repetition of the level-to-level gameplay in the main game, these bonus stages really break up the pace and are always fun to take on. Now it's time for the first edition of Did They Really Print That? Bringing you examples of funny and mildly offensive remarks from game manuals of old. Fall of the Foot Clan's manual is a treasure trove of 90s catchphrases and awful alliteration. Parts of this manual really made me laugh out loud. Here's a few examples. Nintendo will appear, followed by an ultra cool logo, then the Turtles' seal of approval, and finally a message from your favourite foursome. In other words, don't try to pull the old switcheroony in the middle of a stage. There are also different bonus, not to be confused with bogus, stages. Press down to make them get down and get funky. Press in the middle of a jump to kick the life out of an enemy. He's a disciple of the infamous martial artist Vincent Van Vanquish. For some reason they refer to the bosses as super-powered high karate dudes. Being a game from the 90s, they have to refer to April, the only female in the game, as a ravishing TV reporter. Tune in next time for more "Did they really print that?" Thinking about the positives and negatives of this game, the biggest selling point to me has to be the music. There are some fantastic tracks here that have stuck with me for over 30 years. They do a great job of conveying the feeling of the stage you're playing, whether it be the excitement of a freeway chase, or the careful exploration of the ravine. This also extends to the sound effects, which are very distinctive and have the right level of crunch to each impact. I'm also a fan of the short cutscenes between stages that help to tie things together just a little bit. On the negative side, the worst thing in the game is the repetition of the gameplay. Side-scrolling action games are repetitive by their nature. Fall of the Foot Clan is held back by one core aspect: combat. Seeing as how fighting is the main focus of the game, I wish more had been done to differentiate the way that the Turtles attack. Whether you use Leonardo's swords or Raphael's sais, all of the weapons have the same reach and deal the same damage, so there's no advantage to, say, using Donatello's bow staff for extra reach, or Michelangelo's nunchucks for speed, which is disappointing. Mechanically, I understand why it's this way as a Game Boy game, but I do think the developers could have included a unique special move for each of the brothers that could have shown off their weapon and personality to greater effect. The other issue is the size of the sprites. On the one hand, it's great to see the Turtles taking up a large part of the screen so that you can appreciate the sprite work and animations. However, this results in a limited view of the upcoming stage and often feels like enemies spawn on the edge of the screen for every step that you take. Overall, I'd recommend this game to any fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It features many of the great villains, represented in a fantastic 8-bit style. The gameplay, though repetitive, is fun, but the music is the real star of the show. Once played, you'll be humming the tunes for years to come. I wouldn't particularly recommend Fall of the Foot Clan to gamers without a soft spot for the heroes in a half shell. As a side-scroller, it's functional enough, but it's very basic, quite easy, and the confined field of view gives you very little time to anticipate enemy attacks. So, it's one for the fans really. Do you have good memories of Fall of the Foot Clan on the Game Boy? Or have you played either of the sequels? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.